As an author, I have spoken about this before, but I think it's in these days and times it's important to mention social commentary again, because social commentary to those of us who write that about subjects that deal with what's wrong with the country or what's right, the individuals, the people that make our lives worth living. It's important that we keep writing about these subjects and these people and books that are out there to show us that there's always a different story, but stories that are diverse, that are different, that show a different side of everything, and that we should not ban them because in the case of wherever they may be, if a parent decides to ban a book because they're sensitive to the material, that they have that choice. It's like any other TV show that you watch. You can turn the TV set off, but most people don't exercise that right. They rather just want to ban because it's not part of their appetite, literary or otherwise. And I would just say that the social commentary that you see that's being banned, such as To Kill a Mockingbird or other tales like that, isn't because of the content. It's because it makes people sensitive due to the content. It challenges them. And social commentary should always challenge us to be better. Instead, we find individuals in city councils and school boards canceling these books because they don't want to be challenged. They don't want to grow as individuals. They don't want to see what the other side sees. For example, Scout in To Kill a Mockingbird is this young girl who is the daughter of Atticus Finch, who is defending an African American man or black man who has been falsely accused of a crime. Nothing wrong with that, but we're seeing the world through her eyes. It's supposed to be a very innocent age for her, but Scout sees the town around her not being so innocent. I mean, have we come to this place where we have to just ban everything because it's sensitive to us? Or do we have to tell our stories the same way that Rod Serling did when he was part of the Twilight Zone? An episode that I have referenced before, and I definitely think it's probably the best episode of the series, of the original series, is that the monsters come, it's let me just tell you the setting. Unusual happenings happen in a small town, and lights flicker on and off, so street lights, neighbors turn against each other. Oh, the monsters come to Maple Street. There you go. And it's typical American town, small, everyone knows each other. And then when these strange occurrences happen, guess what? The town folks start turning on each other. And at the end, well, you know who orchestrates the entire thing, right? Someone who doesn't belong in town. Should we ban that too? Because really, it's talking about the perfect American town and something happens to an outside force? No. That's a story which shows us that fear, once it has taken over our psyche, there's nothing that one side who decides to direct our actions can do. I mean, they can't be stopped, right? Because they'll keep feeding us more and more fear, and that's exactly the way they will want that. And social commentary does reveal what happens. It presents ideas of what if this happened, But I think we've gotten to a point in the 25 years after Y2K that we don't need to be educated. We don't need to learn. We don't need to understand the world around us. We're very happy with the world we have now. That's a mistake. Even though we have all this technology at our disposal, you can see me on this medium, and if you decide to choose, you can see many other places, people, stories in the same medium. by the click of a button, the touch of a mouse. You can do that. Or you can go on a web search and find any information that you need. I mean, our lives have become so simple. But I really think that could be the problem. That we now live in a time and place where, again, outside forces can dictate to everyone else what to say, what to think, how to live. The same people, or let's say outside forces, that affected Maple Street or Main Street in the Twilight Zone episode, don't want us to write about social commentary. They don't want us to write about people who are different from the other. They want everything to be homogenized. And we live in a society today which is striving for the homogenization. We're all the same person. We're all the same people. Or if you're a shade like mine, you don't fit into that same homogenization. All I can just tell you is that we have to live in a very open society to where, we know right from wrong. We know good and bad, or good and evil. We know these things. We also have to be aware that we live in a society that, there are different stories that need to be told, different people that need to be heard from, different voices. And if we don't hear those voices, if we choose not to listen to them and hear their advice, whether it's from the past or in the present, we're making a big mistake. And we have, throughout our history, made the same mistakes over and over again, which allows the outside forces to come in and dictate to you exactly what you need to learn and what you need to hear. A political party always mentions 1984 a lot, and they mention what happens through Orwell's novel, exactly what will happen with Big Brother, dictating everything around us, telling us how to live, what to think. And yes, our eyes are seeing something different than what we're actually seeing. That's not the truth. That didn't exactly happen. We're living in that time now where, ironically, the very people who warned us about 1984 are trying 1984 tactics. There is no Brave New World, because in Brave New World, everyone, including in that society, is very open with their sexuality, with their thoughts. They're not being controlled as in 1984. And again, Orwell wrote that as a social commentary, warning us about that type of society. And yet, because people are sensitive to that, they decide no one needs to know that. Even though 1984 has not been banned, I suspect one day it will. And if it is, I'm sure in the comment section you'll correct me. The point here that I'm trying to make is that social commentary is needed in our literature and even in our media. We need to explore different stories. We need to examine different outcomes of situations that are happening around us and throughout history. Because without that, we will never know how Scout feels about her father putting in the work, defending someone who doesn't, in the citizens' eyes in that town, doesn't belong there, accused of something that he never did or accused of doing. And with Scout, a fictional character, is thinking and experiencing with her father, is something that happens way too often in history. But guess what? We choose to block that too because it doesn't fit our or a certain historical outcome that other people would like to see. It's very frustrating, but I'm encouraged that one day we'll get back to that. One day we'll recognize that we need to talk about making commentary about social situation, and we can change it for the better. I really believe people can go back to that. but we have to be courageous enough to understand that this life that we're living, and even our country, is not perfect, but we can always make it better. And we have to really try to make it better. And it starts with our neighborhoods. It starts with how we treat each other. And we can make those small steps. And read too. If we read and learn and gather information and understand that what they said to us in the past, the great scholars, the great philosophers, could be a help for us today. So I'll leave you with this. Don't be afraid to encounter social commentary. Don't be afraid. Just listen to different voices, even the voices that are not in our camp. Understand where they're coming from, learn, and then make the decision by yourself. Don't let anyone make the decision of what you read, what you heard. Just learn, and then you choose if that social commentary, whether by print or by electronic media, is helpful. So that's all I'll conclude with. I do want to thank you for listening to my ramblings about social commentary. But again, if you're interested, or first of all, if you liked what you heard, you can always like this video essay, or you want to make a comment, please comment down below. But I would say thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. And please, if you like, please subscribe, be a supporter of this channel, as I just try to make common sense about everything. But I find that common sense, as we move forward in the 21st century, or 21st century, doesn't make a whole lot of sense these days. So join me in trying to help make common sense a thing. Thank you for your time, and always in closing, take care.